Hi, hello, and welcome to the video. Today we're going RuPaul's Drag Race but Pedestrian, episode 4, and the category is Beautiful Nightmare. So I could go all out with this and make it so far from pedestrian, but the actual challenge is to make a wearable look. That's a beautiful nightmare. Right, I am already a fair, ghostly lady, but I want to look even more ghostly and fair. So today I'm not only taking the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation in the shade LN3, I'm also going to add this About Face Matte Fluid Eye Paint in the shade White Noise. I'm just going to scrape that onto the palette like you've seen me do with these kinds of products before. You can use a Q-tip, the back of a brush, you could use whatever you need to, your fingers, to mix that in. And I'm applying this with an e.l.f. sponge. I say lighten it up, but it's actually my shade Jokes on Me. So let's dive into this week's episode. We had a double feature of Snatch Game, and I really actually enjoyed that. I liked seeing Snatch Game earlier in the season so we could see a little more like variety in what everybody would do, because you know everybody prepares for it. The only thing I don't like about Snatch Game is the edit is pretty intense, and if you are cracking jokes and making Rue laugh, you're going to be the star of the episode. And I'm sure there were some moments where people said funny things, but once you start doing well and you're cracking jokes left and right, it's just over for the rest of the girls. I mean, really. So I feel like it's obvious of who the favorites were this week. I mean, thoroughly enjoyed Lucy, and I said Lucy is one of my favorites, and y'all are probably like, why is she one of your favorites? She sang horribly. I think she just couldn't hear herself, because she can sing, but she killed Joan Rivers, like, not literally, but the impersonation was so good, and her interaction with Rue and the other queens, I mean, nobody stood a chance. I think Marcia did a really good job with Tim. Like, the illusion was there. She looked just like him. I just wish she could have had, you know, more jokes. I'm going to take the Milk Makeup Future Fluid Concealer in the shade 2C. This is pretty light for me. I also really enjoyed Mistress. She's been a favorite from day one. Her Rosie O'Donnell / Abby Lee Miller was great. And it wasn't great because she impersonated the best. It was great because of the banter that she had. I mean, clearly she is a hilarious queen, and I think one of her shows would be just off the wall fun. And I think they should have did a double win. I was surprised that they judged them all. They should have had one that was from the bottom from each group and one from the top from each group, in my opinion. But if you watch, you know, Sugar and Spice, we got the twin lip sync. And honestly, I even said in my last video, I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Jokes on me. I did not expect we would see the twin lip sync so early on in the game. We all knew it was going to happen, but I did not expect it to happen this week. They both absolutely bombed Snatch Game. Like, let's be real clear about that. Sugar did Trisha Paytas, which that's a choice, and Spice did Miley Ray Cyrus, and I think she had a good idea to go through like the evolution of Miley, but she should have kept going and not just stopped at like the Wrecking Ball era. Definitely the edit got her. The edit on her laughing was ridiculous. And even when I was watching the show, I was like, there's no way she's doing that much in real life. Like, surely not. And if she did, how did everybody not just like, all right, producers be like, all right, cut, girl, stop. Aura Mayari did Bretman Rock, which also a choice. Aura did not do a great job, and Rue shut her down when she was like, oh, when he was like, there's Filipinos on the crew and they're saying that's not right, and I was, you know, it's over. You just gotta like sink back in your chair and accept defeat at that point. Like, whew. Rue, I appreciate Rue's sassiness this season, and it's funny so long as it's not like happening too much, you know. I've heard that things don't always go so well in their interactions with him. Okay, I'm going to go in and set the under eyes. I'm using the 14E Aloe Nourish Prime and Set Powder. It's one of my all-time favorite powders. It's so thin and blurring. Feels like nothing on the skin. Feels like nothing, but it does everything. I'm going to take my Kaleidos palette to contour because Beautiful Nightmare definitely calls for contour. Going into the coolest shade here. I'm going to carve out myself some ghoulish cheekbones. The runways were pretty good. I agree with, I watched like everybody. After the show, I can't wait for everybody to come out and state their opinion on how they think everybody did, which for the queens watching it back, they might be like, oh great, you know, you weren't there, you don't know. But I like to know if my opinions align with other people's. The runways, I think they could have gone a little further with them. I think that the best runway was Sasha Colby, and Luxe also had an amazing runway, except for those tights. I wish she had painted them gray, borrowed somebody else's gray stockings, like something. It really cut the illusion for me. And I loved the cinder block. I also really liked Lucy's runway look. If she wanted to go full like dark goth, it would totally work. I thought she looked really amazing. I'm going to take the warmer shade in here and just kind of blend that cooler shade in a little bit. Now in terms of the bottom, yes, Sugar and Spice did terrible, but I feel like Aura needed to be in the bottom. You know, Rue can do anything that she wants. She could have had 3 people in the bottom. I think Aura has dodged a bullet, 3 times now? And we're only on episode 4. She's beautiful and her drag is stunning. But I'm itchy, sorry. There is a disconnect somewhere with the challenges and even what she's bringing on the runway. For blush, I'm using the one from Make Beauty in the shade Eros. I'm trying to go for like a bruised kind of look. I'm gonna blend this up into the eye area as well. I'm gonna keep it really round and not go too far above my eyebrow. Back to Aura. She has worn black on the runway like a gazillion times, and I know that they don't know the order of the categories. They know you need to bring this kind of look, you need to bring this kind of look, but they don't know what order those looks are going to be in. So she's planned a lot of black looks and they all happen to be one after the other, and we need to see some variation. She did in the Metallica have like green, but it wasn't that great, only because, I mean, it's gorgeous, but we have seen things like that, and that's the only problem with like coming in season 15. You know, I have watched every single season and it just gets more grandiose each time. I'm adding a lot of that blush, and these blushes from Make are just so beautiful. Don't they look like bruises when I look straight ahead? Perfect. I'm not going to do a highlight just yet. I might add it later, but I don't think so. So I'm going to move on to the eyes. I'm going to start out with this Ritual de Fille Abyss. This is the black orb, and it's just a black cream. And I'm actually going to take that on probably a fluffier brush than you might think, a larger brush. I'm going to get you in here. Beautiful Nightmare. And I'm going to dippy dip in here. Rub it on the back of my hand just so I can control the pigment. It's real black. And we move on to Marsha's runway. Oh goodness. I did like her makeup. And I like the dentist gloves with the long creepy fingers. But apparently she had a look she was working with a designer on, and it apparently did not get finished in time for the show. And just smoking this all around the eye, bringing it in the inner corner as well. Gonna fluff that up when there's hardly anything left on my brush towards the very front of my brow. I'm going to take another fluffy brush and the same blush and go around the outside here with the blush. I'm going to take this Cali Ray eyeliner. It's just a black line, the lash line. And it does not have to be perfect. The messier, the better. And these are long wearing, so I'll need to go in fast because I am going to buff it out. Make sure I get in between those lashes really, really good. And into the waterline as well. You can lift up your lid and line it, which is so tickly. Oh, or you can close your eye and point the pencil up and line it that way. That's usually the way I do it, because if I'm going to tight line, then I'm probably going to put it on the waterline as well, so it's okay if it transfers. So it is indeed what I'm going to do today. So apply that to the waterline and in between all my blonde little baby lashes. I'm going to add just a little in the inner corner because I like it. I am going to apply as much mascara as my lashes will hold. And then I'm taking the Major Volume Mascara by Patrick Ta. And if I really wanted to be Nightmare, I would make my lashes as spiky as possible. I would even probably take some tweezers and like pinch a few of them together so they look like little spider legs. So I did see online that Mistress has officially adopted Sugar and Spice into her drag family, which is amazing. When Irene and Mistress were bantering back and forth and people thought they were being mean to each other, they're like, no, this is just how we talk to each other. We understand. And so I guess some people were like, Mistress is not that nice. But yes, she is. And she's going to adopt these young queens who have expressed throughout their time on the race that they needed a family, a drag family. So I'm so happy for them. I think it's good for Mistress too, because she was talking about how she's like a classic old school drag queen, and they can really bring a lot to the table for each other. So I think it's a wonderful family pairing. Going super clumpy on the lower lashes. I want to do my brows a little darker than I usually do, just for that spooky, ooky vibe. And I'm going to use the Instant Brow Fix Semi-Permanent Eyebrow Gel in the shade Merida from Thrive Cosmetics. And I'm going to apply that before anything else. I've been enjoying brushing my brow hairs backwards. I am going to add some warmth to them though by adding some of the Kosas Brow Pop in the shade Auburn. And then I'll probably set it all with a clear gel. I'll use this new clear brow gel from Mahogany, the Stay Put Liquid Brow Wax. This is pretty good. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. Not crazy about the brows today. Interesting choices were made by me. Yikes. You know what's a beautiful nightmare? These brows. Okay, it's giving werewolf. We love it. Okay, I am taking the NYX lip pencil in the shade Mahogany. So we have to talk about the lip sync. It was a show, and I feel like the edit was wild. I could tell they were just really vibing off each other and just having fun. In Untucked, they were going back and forth, like if one of us leaves, we both leave. And then Sasha was like, I need you to reconsider that. Whoever stays you need to stay for the other twin. Like, you have to. Sugar was the one that ends up sashaying away, and I think it was because her runway was not as strong as Spice's. They were, you know, again, basically the same thing, but Sugar's was a little less than Spice's. Marginally, barely, but I think what really got her was not grasping the flow of Snatch Game and trying to be funny but accidentally interrupting Rue. Like I said, I thought Aura should have been lip syncing as well, and I am excited to see what Spice can do on their own, you know? It is clear now, because I had said in my last video, like, I wonder who the more assertive twin is. It's clear now that it was Sugar. And Spice has kind of been like the go-along twin, if you will. Not that she's not her own person and etc., but, you know. And so I'm excited to see what they do. I am going to add the Bitten Lip Tint from Victoria Beckham. Oh, yes. This is a Wednesday Addams color if I ever saw one. Not so much the rest of the look, but this right here. Usually I wear this without a lip liner and I just really kind of blur things out. Ooh, I feel so cool. Of course I put fake nails on and I can't open this package. Alrighty, I'm going to be brave and add some false lashes. These are from Ione. I got these from the Dollar Tree. And I'm taking my lash glue and painting it onto just the clear packaging from the lashes. So I'm going to remove it from the package, dip it into the glue, and apply it with a hope and a prayer. I want to add them kind of randomly. Alright, I went ahead and added 4 individual lashes to each and put a ton of mascara on them, and they look spidery and I love them. Do not regret that decision, and as you can see, everything is creasing like crazy. So I'm going to embrace that by taking the About Face Vinyl Effect. This is the shade Clear, and it is just an eye gloss. And again, so I don't mess up the applicator, I'm just going to scrape some out. And some people's nightmare is their eyeshadow creasing, so let's do it. Just being careful not to get it too crazy close to my lashes, because I don't know if it will lift them up or not. Ooh, I like it. Okay, definitely maybe not pedestrian. But I'm fitting the brief. I'm using what I have in my collection. Trying to keep it beautiful, but also a little spooky. Because I can go full on spooky. Thought about drawing veins on my face and blood, but for one, I don't think YouTube likes that, and for two, that goes out of pedestrian real fast. Just taking the same brush I used with the black cream. It helped me blend a little bit, especially on the inner corner. So I do want to take a Q-tip and try to remove some of this in between here. I want there to be a gap there, and what I can also do is I can dip that Q-tip into my foundation, and that'll help me even more. Yeah, that worked wonderfully. Dude, that looks cool. Now, I did not use glitter today, but somehow there is glitter on my face. And I'm now going to blur out the lip. I'm going to take a dense little brush, paint on that lip stain onto the brush, go around all my edges. I'm trying to do like oat milk makeup. Wow, this does look like a nightmare. Work that in around my lip line. And for the hair, I'm just going with a messy, grungy, wet look. I hope you enjoyed this week's interpretation of Beautiful Nightmare from episode 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race. As always, like I say, you could add or take away elements to let it suit you and your needs, but this is all for fun. It just gives me an excuse to talk about one of my favorite shows. If I were on Drag Race, I definitely would have done like Medusa or like a oddly beautiful sexy clown, like the corners of the mouth turned up but still really pretty, you know. There were a lot of spiders on the runway, but there were no clowns, right? No clowns. Interesting. Don't forget to do all the YouTubey things for me. Give this video a like, it really helps me out. And please subscribe and click that bell. As always, be blessed and be kind, and we will chat again very soon. Bye! Is it a fantasy? Is it a vibe? Yes. Minus the eyebrows. Who am I kidding? I would totally wear this out and about. Bet you won't get my Starbucks order wrong if I'm wearing this makeup. She's a goofy goth.